In this video, we are going to talk about Java syntax and how it works. The first and most important thing you need to know is that Java is case sensitive, which means uppercase A is different from lowercase a. Let's see an example of that. Make sure that your code is working from what we have done earlier on. Now just click on this run or F6. Okay, upon seeing this build success, now that we are sure our project is working well, a case sensitive just means that if I change this O by example to uppercase O, now you see I have an error here, and that is simply because O is different from O like this. So the two are different. This O and this are totally different in Java because this is lowercase and this is uppercase. Once you have that in mind, you won't have much issues with copying or writing your own code. And you have to be very careful with that because sometimes you may end up calling a different thing instead of what you intended calling. Now this showed an error to me, and the error says that it couldn't find this symbol out because it is not even defined. And if you try to run your project, you are going to have an error that indicates that there is compilation error. That is because that out I just wrote it's not even defined. Now click on this, it's going to tell you that this is where the error is. Now change this back to the normal lowercase o and everything is okay and fine. Another thing you need to also understand is the main method. Now main method in your application is the method that trigger the execution of the work code. Now in case this is our main method, and it always starts with this public static void main strings, then the list of your arguments. The execution of your code starts from here. Now anytime you are writing something in Java, you have to kickstart it from inside your main method so that you are going to see the result. If I remove this by cutting it, even if I run the application like this, it's going to run but without any out. So now everything is successful but actually without any result out. And then let's Ctrl Z again to put back the code there. So we have the code here again. In Java, statements are marked with semicolon. Let's see the practical approach to that. Now remove this semicolon here, and then you have an error. Now try to figure out what that error is by debugging that line. Now upon putting your cursor on this red line, it's going to tell you the error or a brief about the error. Now it tells us that semicolon is expected, and that's because a statement is ended by semicolon in Java. Put back the semicolon and you got rid of that error. So once you have an error of this nature, try to check the line of that error, and likely it's going to just tell you that it's semicolon issues. We have block of statement, not just statement. And if you have block of code, it simply means that those codes must be within curly braces. Now a good example is this main method. It have this curly brace from here to here, taking in everything that is within it as a block of code. If you check this main class, it also have that same thing. Now remove this semicolon here and you are going to have an error because it's expected that each block of code must have a semicolon, opening it and closing it. Now close this up and then check again if by any way you still remove this, and then it's going to show an error again to you. That is because the block of code don't have a start. Now put back the semicolon and you are good to go. Okay, one more thing I need to talk a little about is that you have some other things around here that you need to understand why they are. This is just a comment and this is another comment, and in our next video we are going to talk more and more about comments and how important it is. In the meantime, thank you very much, and then see you next.